Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's 15th of September 2025. It's Monday. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And yeah, I'm in full hippie mode today, as long as you don't mind. And I just wanted to make a short video. I'm thinking it's going to be short. And I hope the sound isn't bad. I'm in my balcony here. And we just had it made. Oops, I shouldn't even show that. You know that? I should not show. And maybe it's too late already, because we just had this assassination a couple of days ago of Charlie Kirk, and I saw this video of George Galloway, and I guess it was just a short. I guess he's talking about another video he is going to have, and I believe it's going to be Jackson Hinkle on there and some other people. And in this very short video that George Galloway made, he's talking about, for the most part, which group or who does more assassinations than anybody on planet Earth, and I guess it's Israel. As a matter of fact, they just did an assassination today. Somebody driving along in a car, and they say, that, of course, they're Hamas. And what did they do? They assassinated just, a week ago, the entire cabinet of Yemen. And how many leaders of Hezbollah have they assassinated? How many people of Hamas have they assassinated? They just, well, as a matter of fact, they were trying to assassinate certain people of supposedly from Hamas in Doha, in Qatar, some of their best allies, and they killed the wrong people. Apparently, they didn't kill the ones they were trying to kill. One of them was some Qatari as well, and and they said they're going to keep on killing, and they don't really care. And the United States said, "Oh, well, we'll make sure it doesn't ever happen again." They said that to Qatar, and Israel said, "Well, we're gonna do it again if there's Hamas there." So they don't take any orders from anybody. It is undeniably a rogue state. It is definitely a rogue state. Big time assassinations. And you remember, you think about historically, I believe this word assassin, it came from, it was coined in the Middle East some hundreds of years ago, and I believe it was these people that would do killings, and I guess before they did the killings, they would smoke some hashish. Funny that I got my long hair out like this too. But I'm not into any drugs whatsoever. I don't even take prescription drugs for the most part, to be honest with you. I don't even take aspirin or ibuprofen. I might take ibuprofen at some time, very rare, and maybe even aspirin. But otherwise, I've taken supplements, of course, quite a bit, like magnesium and things like that. But anyway, I'm not into any kind of drugs of any sorts. I don't even want to take drugs when I go to. Matter of fact, I got to go to the dentist today, and I'm going to have to get some shots, big time. That's going to be terrible. The shots are going to be terrible, and the dental work is going to be terrible. But anyway, that's another story. But anyway, what George Galloway was saying on his show, it brought a little more things to light. More information has come out, and I just thought I would fill you guys in, because this is actually a very important event. This actually describes this terrible, terrible downfall of the United States. It's actually, I don't know, what do you call it? It's not even a symptom necessarily. It is just, it's the breakout of the disease, seeing something like this, and all these people cheering and celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, and some of them have found out that they were celebrating or they had thought things about Charlie Kirk that were not even true. And it's the media telling these people, or trying to make them think certain things about Charlie Kirk that are not even true. This author, Stephen King, the horror writer, writes horror novels and stuff. At least, he had the strength to come out and say that he was wrong. And apparently he was made to believe fake things about Charlie Kirk. And how many other, I talked to somebody here today, he's African, and but I think he's living now in Kazakhstan, and yeah, he's gonna probably, anyway, he's kind of a global guy traveling around, intelligent person and all that, and I think he misunderstands a lot of things about Charlie Kirk, and I was just telling him that he's got to beware. And I keep mentioning this song, and I have to keep mentioning this to you people out there. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing my green shirt, Green Day, and this song, it tells so much. It is so poetic. It's, the one called American Idiot. I said this now probably 3 videos in a row, but it's just how, one nation controlled by the media. And Donald Trump is very much the media as well. You see him putting things out in his Truth Social. He's media. And I think it was this Tommy Robinson, he just said on his, those million some odd people march or whatever in London the other day, or maybe it was Elon Musk, or maybe it was both. And they said, we are the media now. And that's even myself, look at this, I'm putting out this stuff right now. And the very few viewers that I actually do have. Actually, I have more viewers, and I've already said that. I know that I have more viewers. I know that YouTube takes a lot of my viewers. They erase them, and they leave a certain amount to make people think, that there's some people watching, and there is more people watching, and I know that there are, and I've people have told me, and I've it's just too much evidence, And then somebody today who also has a channel, I was texting with him, and I was telling him about this one rapper that I always talk about that had over 1 billion views, 1.7 billion views or something like that. I said, how in the heck could that be? That would mean half of China saw it in all the United States. And then he said, I can beat you on that one. And he showed me some little children's video or something that has 16.5 billion views on YouTube. 16.5 billion views. And how many people there are on planet Earth? I don't know, do these little kids, do they all have 7, 8 computers, and they all 16 billion views? I believe that one, yeah. Anyway, you guys know that this is all a lot of fake stuff too. And I mean, there's Tulsi Gabbard even put that out. YouTube, they doctor things and they screw people. It's like, and some people, I just can't say enough. And I already mentioned yesterday that YouTube was saying that I can pay some extra money and they will do more promotion of my, it was at least the shorts. So I don't know, maybe they do it on this too. Some guy had contacted me as well. I don't even know who this guy is. But and I'm not even positive on how much money it was, but he said he'd get me an extra 20,000 views or something per video. And apparently a lot of people do this. So just to fill you guys in on that, also yesterday I said a lot of what I do here is a lot of time it's therapy for me. So I am, what do you call it? What's that word? So I'm doing this for me and not for you. Just kidding. So, but anyway, George Galloway was hinting at least that the reason why, and it turns out, Charlie Kirk, he was getting cold of supporting Israel. I mentioned that yesterday. And it's like I was believing that maybe his supporters were having an effect on him by people constantly, probably everywhere he goes, saying, how do you support this genocide of them, killing tens of thousands and what is in truth hundreds of thousands of people. As most people say, it's probably at least 300,000 people. It's just that most of them are buried under the rubble and they don't have the manpower to be moving all this rubble in these big pieces. And even lately, I think, as you guys all know, over the past week or so, maybe it's not been a week yet, but Israel is going throughout all of Gaza and bombing all of the buildings, and I think they're maybe telling people to leave, and it's always the excuse, Hamas is there. And I think it was just yesterday, they bombed, there's like parts of universities around, and they just bombed other big buildings, and they said it was a derelict building, and it looked like a very new building, and of course they bombed and destroyed it all. And they didn't say that Hamas was there. They said it was a derelict building. But all the other ones, Hamas is there. That's a very good excuse. And I think it's just like the invasions in the United States. Al-Qaeda is there, so we got to go into that country and bomb that too. I mean, that was a big excuse all the time anyway, saying that the bad man is there, the boogeyman, so we got to go into that country and we got to invade it and we got to kill a whole bunch of people there. Oh, it's just collateral damage, you know, which is very strange. Like, as I say, why is it that when Yemen, they send whatever it is, drones or, you know, their hypersonic missiles, which don't seem to be that effective, really. It's doing some damage and all that. But I think they say that the death toll of all of the, you know, the bombing the ships that are all delivering all this stuff, weapons and everything to Ukraine that Yemen is bombing, and their so-called attacks, I guess you call them, even though I think a lot of the missiles are shot down by Israel. And I think the death toll is like below 10 people, and Israel's is over 300,000 people. I mean, it's like, every place Israel or the United States has any sort of antagonism towards, there's always a lot of people that die, Donald Trump included. And a lot of people are, you know, very sadly, you know, Donald Trump is a much different person than what he says he is. You know, I guess at sometimes he sounds more crass when he's in America, you know, like, you know, making up these names like what did he say, Lion Ted and Crooked Hillary and on all this, which both of them he's like buddies with now, I think. And but I guess when you talk to him, he's actually a lot nicer person in that time. And then you hear him like in foreign policy, oh, we should be friends with Russia and all that. But yet he does huge things to try to destroy Russia. So it's not being friends. You know, he's the one that started the sanctions on the pipeline. He's the one that sent the javelins. He said, aha, Obama sent blankets and I sent javelins. So it's like, I'm giving the Ukrainians weapons to kill the Russians. But we should be friends with the Russians. I want to stop the killing. You know, that's why I'm sending, you know, they called it extended range missiles, which are just a nice name for long range missiles that he's sending to Ukraine now. And but Europe is paying for them. So I guess that's all right then. But what about who's paying for all the bombs that he sends to Israel? He's probably sending even more bombs than Joe Biden was sending. I've already talked about this so many times in my videos, and they were sending the cluster bombs, you know, which are banned, which are banned bombs. You're not supposed to have cluster bombs. You're not supposed to use cluster bombs. But Joe Biden, he sent them to Ukraine. Oh, we ran out of all the other bombs. And then came this attack by Israel on Palestine. And all of a sudden, the United States had a whole bunch of bombs, and they can send them to Israel that they weren't sending to Ukraine. Oh, that's really strange. I don't know. I guess it was magic, and I guess they all of a sudden came up with all these bombs. You know, Joe Biden said, oh, we ran out of all the other bombs. He told that to Ukraine. Gosh, you don't know what to believe anymore. It's nothing but lies. But this is that's a different topic. Anyway, George Galloway, you know, really eye-opening video. And what happened, I got off on a tangent again, you know, that Israel, Charlie Kirk, he invited Tucker Carlson onto his show, and apparently Israel really hates Tucker Carlson. A lot of people do. And so they were cutting some of his funding or all of his funding. And George Galloway said just what I said yesterday on that video, that, you know, they funded Charlie Kirk up to, you know, it's like $40 million in his show, and then they were going to cut it off. I didn't know that Charlie Kirk was getting funds ongoing from Israel. So anybody that can see or guess why Charlie Kirk supported Israel, at least in the beginning, is because that's who was funding him. You know, and unfortunately, how the world works, it's just like your political donors, even though it wasn't politics, like Donald Trump has to support Israel because it looks like Israel, I mean, you know, when you're sending all these billions and billions of dollars to Israel, a lot of that comes back. I've been saying this so many times, and it's just like the corporations and things. It's really terrible. What do they say? Money talks, bullshit walks. And so, I don't know. That's you guys get the point. You know what's going on. Israel buys lots of politicians. They buy the judges. They buy everybody that's influential in America. Huge influence in Hollywood. The Israelis are never the bad guys, and if they are, that movie's not going to last very long. There's so much stuff, and I've been hearing a lot about Google. You know, this platform that I'm on. That's probably one reason why I'm you know, my channel suffers. So, but I'd rather be telling the truth. And one reason why I kind of didn't want to show you anything out there, because you know, when people can tell where you live, you never know if drones are allowed to fly, if there's going to be one, you know, ending up in my bedroom, coming through my window at some time. And I might have told you guys in one video that somebody put a bomb in the dumpster outside the back there, and you know, police were here and asking, you know, me and things like that. I don't know, but anyway, somebody put a bomb out there, and big explosion, and I didn't even know where that came from. I didn't think at that time to look out there that it was in the dumpster, you know, straight across from my window. You know, so maybe they already know where I'm at, and I'm not a big. I mean, maybe they know that I actually get more views than what is listed on YouTube. I'm not saying I'm getting tens of thousands of views. I might get some people, you know, depending on the video. I've had videos that they even list like 500 views, but it's probably my average views might be 100, maybe it's 150, maybe it's 200. I have no idea. If Israel keeps, you know, I mean, not Israel, if Google keeps doing what they do. By the way, I was even thinking about this movie. I think it's called The Circle, and Tom Hanks is in that movie. And I don't know what the organization was. I just remember, and who was some girl? What was she in Harry Potter or something? One of the actress there. Anyway, she's in that movie too. I believe it's the girl from Harry Potter. Anyway, and she plays, I think, the main star and all that. Then she's with this organization, which in truth, they're trying to make like Google, and how she thought it was such a great organization, and oh, how great it is for humanity and all that. And then she finds out how extremely corrupt it is, and very terrible. So maybe you guys should watch that movie called The Circle. Okay, let's keep going here. But, you know, I was going to make a very short video. But anyway, Israel was going to cut him off. And then so Charlie Kirk, I don't know if he was trying to send a warning to Israel, you know, by all of a sudden mentioning, and he had said that, you know, about the Hannibal Directive. He didn't use Hannibal Directive. George Galloway used that term. And so a lot of people have been saying like the same thing that I'm saying on my videos. I don't get 26,000 views or nothing, even though a lot of time I'm saying this stuff before they are, and which I did, a lot of these people. But some of them, I mean, most of them, they come out. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I find this stuff as well, you know, spending time looking on the news and all of this. And sometimes I piece the things together myself, you know, and once in a while people catch up to that one as well. I've already got a couple. I've mentioned already the trajectory of the shot when it hit Charlie Kirk. It went into the side of his neck, and yet they show us where the shooter was laying when he was shooting, and he was directly in front of Charlie Kirk. So I don't know, did his bullet, did it make a curve? I mean, you can kind of throw a curveball in baseball, but you can't curve a bullet, you know? And Candace Owens, she put up a video, and in that video, I know somebody else had maybe actually posted it, but of a guy running around right after Charlie Kirk got shot, within 10 seconds or so, and there's a guy running with a handgun. He's got a pistol, well, an automatic pistol in his hand, and he's running from, oh, by the way, he's running from the side where the bullet entered Charlie Kirk's neck. I'm not saying that was the guy. And again, like somebody had pointed out. I saw this, and I find it very suspicious. George Galloway saw this. You know, the bodyguards or the security or whatever of Charlie Kirk, there's two of them right behind him. And I guess it was obviously just 2 seconds or 3 seconds before Charlie Kirk got hit. They're doing baseball signals, you know, tipping his hat and doing this, and one guy's grabbing his shoulder, obviously making signals. What that means, I don't know. It could be security guard signals, like somebody over there, look to your right or to your left, somebody is there, see what that guy's got. I have no idea. When I was with VIPs and things, driving them and other things, mostly driving, and I would see people on the streets, you know, they're supposed to act like they're Germans, but they're actually our security. So when you have high-ranking people, and I can't even remember the times I'd seen that. These are maybe just generals, but sometimes, you know, you have other people like American Secretary of Defense that you're driving, or a senator, the president of the Senate. I drove once, and some other people, some big congressmen and senators from this place or the other place. Sometimes other leaders in the world, like the president of Germany, and I was almost going to drive the Chancellor of Germany with Caspar Weinberger at that time, and General Haig, and Colin Powell quite a few times. You know, and I took him from one point to the other and a few places like that. He had his regular driver, whose name was Otis, and Otis was on leave, probably back in the States or something like that, and so I was covering for him. And at that time, Colin Powell was the Lieutenant General in charge of 5th Corps, and he was based in Frankfurt at the Abrams building in the Abrams complex in Frankfurt. Anyway, that's some other stuff, but let's keep going here. Like I mentioned, the man with the gun. And another strange thing George Galloway brought up, and I was thinking about this yesterday, said the killer never confessed. And I believe the father turned him in, the father saying that he confessed to him. And it's just, none of this stuff really makes that much sense. This young guy, and I guess there was some people from foreign states, from neighboring states, out of state visitors coming and visiting him, apparently at the university. And then I'm hearing things, oh, he was not a student at the university. You know? So, very strange stuff. And some really shocking stuff. This is really shocking stuff, and obviously there's a lead here somewhere. And I'm waiting. Max Blumenthal can probably clear this up. If somebody should talk to Max Blumenthal about this, and he should do maybe an additional investigation. But you remember they first arrested an old guy. Somebody said he looked like me with a bald head. So I guess he's about my age, possibly. Anyhow, this guy, his name is Zinn. He's a Zionist Jew, and apparently there's practically no Zionist Jews anywhere in all of the state of Utah. Apparently, that's what George Galloway was saying. And he was saying, I did it, kill me, or shoot me. This guy was saying to these people that were apprehending him, like he was telling them to shoot him or kill him or something, which is very strange. And it turns out that this same guy, he said days before, he was warning about, you know, what happened in 2013, the Boston Marathon bombing, which I've mentioned already in the last few days too, about some similarities about what's going on here. And but anyway, he had warned about that, this Jewish guy, about this bombing days before it actually happened. And then you have these two brothers, the Chernoff brothers, and nobody's, and I don't know, I don't know if I should keep going over this stuff. One, the police had him in custody and they killed him. And that's beyond any doubt. There's film footage that they have him. They stripped him naked. His aunt saw that footage. Somebody was in the bushes and they filmed this, and they had him naked and they were putting him in the car, and she said that is definitely him. Tall, everything. He was very tall, very well built, and it was definitely him. And you could even, I don't even know the guy, and I could tell that was him from pictures and everything, that they were putting him in the cop car. And yet they said the younger brother panicked and drove over him and killed him. So it's pretty obvious. If they have any tire marks that this guy was, somebody drove over him, it was the police that did it. You know, wow. And then the younger boy, he was hiding in a boat, and they took him in, and nobody has ever been able to talk to this boy. You know, you get nothing. I don't know if they put him to death already, gave him the death penalty. I guess in the Boston bombing, 3 people got killed and a lot of people lost their limbs and stuff like that. And then they show these boys, they had film footage of these boys, and they showed their backpacks, and then they show the backpack where the pressure cooker bomb, I guess there was 2 of them, that the pressure cooker bombs were in, and they were different backpacks than what those boys were wearing. And then they showed these men around, there were lots of them, and they were all wearing tan pants and the same kind of jackets. They all had earpieces in and sunglasses, and there was a lot of them around, obviously some kind of security, and lo and behold, they have those types of backpacks. Wow, isn't that a coincidence? Somehow, these Chernoff boys, they changed the color of their backpacks to match the same backpacks as the security people were wearing. Anyway, you guys all know what I'm getting at. It was all obviously a staged thing. And you know what I was wondering about? You know, I talked about the trajectory of this bullet. And remember when somebody tried to kill Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, and they made a big deal. You see, there's a lot of films and things, and they're showing you of where this killer was positioned, also on the top of some building. Strange enough. And the trajectory, and basically how Donald Trump moved his head and all that sort of stuff, you know, that it saved his life and it nicked his ear, apparently so. And but anyway, they made a big deal about the trajectory and you know, the hit of the bullet and all that. Very, very strange stuff anyway. You have a sniper, and they even show that in the footage of when before the bullet even grazed Donald Trump's ear. And they have a security guy with his rifle aimed at where that sniper or the boy was at, the young boy. It's all very strange stuff anyway. I don't really know. I'd like to tell you, I wasn't there, but a lot of the stuff, it just doesn't make any sense. And then the guy running around with them, I already mentioned a lot of this stuff, so don't, I'm not going to go through it again, but I'll tell you what, this guy, a Zionist Jewish guy, this Zinn, who warned about this bombing in Boston before it happened, obviously very pro-Israel. And it turned out, they wrote down as the results of the bombing in Israel as Muslim extremists. Yeah, Muslim extremists. I don't know. It was a long time ago. I don't really know what was happening in the news and what might have benefited Israel at that time, which normally all this stuff always benefits Israel. And right after this bombing, or this shooting of Charlie Kirk, I think Netanyahu, and that was another thing that George Galloway was talking about. Netanyahu sent his tweet out the identical time that Donald Trump, to the very minute, the same time they sent their tweets out, you know. And the very first tweet was, of course, Benjamin Netanyahu, the very first person to tweet about the death of Charlie Kirk. That is very strange. And it's just like that time, I mentioned it yesterday. I mean, a lot of people has to really look at this stuff of when they had that bombing in Bulgaria. And I think less than a minute, Benjamin Netanyahu had already sent messages out that Hamas or somebody had bombed that bus in Bulgaria. Gosh. So what is Benjamin Netanyahu? Is he staring at his phone all day long, every second of the day? This stuff doesn't make any sense anyway. And what time was it anyway? If Benjamin Netanyahu was able to send that message out, what was the time difference from Utah to Israel? Just asking, what time of the day or the night was Benjamin Netanyahu making that message? I don't know if anybody's ever asked that question. Anyway, I don't know if there's any more I could say. I probably could add a lot of stuff if I sat here and thought about it. But this stuff is some really weird stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And there's other news. Just not putting it out. I just thought I would make a quick video. It's not that quick, I guess. And tell you guys about this, because I saw this video from George Galloway. And earlier I saw this thing from Candace Owens with this guy running around with the gun. And this stuff, it doesn't jive. And I said yesterday, and I stick with that, and a lot of people are also kind of believing in that too. And who knows, George Galloway, I think he said he believes it's the deep state, but I think he equates Israel with the deep state. But I equate, and maybe I shouldn't, and maybe I'm just drawing too many connections. Maybe George Galloway is drawing a connection that doesn't exist between the deep state and Israel, and maybe I'm making a mistake by drawing a connection between George Soros and the deep state. So maybe these are all separate entities, you know? And then you have the leftists and the Democrats and all this. And I've already said, I believe that a lot of these things, it's not like a membership. You put in your membership card to join the deep state or anything like that. But you have these interests that you serve, and a lot of times they overlap. So, and that's pretty much all that I'm saying there. And very interesting. Trying to piece together all the stuff that goes around in the world and why. And then you have all of these other elements, not just Zionism, but you have the eugenists, the people that want to reduce the world's population. There's a lot of those. There's Bill Gates, there's the Dirt World Economic Forum, and George Soros. There's a lot of them. So that has to also filter in. So, I don't know. I'm just trying to make sense of all of this. Maybe the rest of you are too. Maybe that's one reason why some people watch my videos. I don't know, because it interests me. Well, anyway, that's all I'm putting out for now. Probably won't make another video today. I gotta go to the dentist. So, anyway, thanks for joining me, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.